This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, I'd like to call the Site Plan Review Committee to order for Tuesday, October 5th. Roll call, please, Terry.
Mary Kowalski.
Here.
Dennis Persick.
Here.
Dan Camperin.
Here.
Gary Paul. Here. Chris Atkinson.
Here.
And Kowalski and Quinn are excused.
Please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And please remember all the men and women throughout our world in uniform. I have no changes to the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. Motion carried. 5A, the Site Plan Review Committee minutes from the regular meeting of September 21st. I need a motion.
Motion to approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve those minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. Motion carried. Number 6, review plans for the following locations. 6A, action regarding site plan review of building addition to Jet Air, 1921 Airport Drive, parcel VA-24. Aaron.
Okay, the requested site plan is for a relatively small addition, right around 3,400 square feet, to the Jet Air hangar at the airport. The addition will be used for storage, shop space, replacing some existing shop space that'll be converted to other uses. As indicated on the attached elevations, 2 of the 3 addition elevations are to have masonry wainscot. Under our code, all 3 sides of the addition are required to have the masonry, up to 3-foot masonry wainscot as required. In terms of additional conditions of approval, or recommended conditions of approval, handicap parking spaces will need to be replaced, screen any new rooftop or ground-mounted mechanical units, meet all their applicable requirements, and I forgot to show the site plan up here, just so you have it on screen. Engineering, stormwater, there were no comments. From public safety, the building addition will impede existing fire department access, ensure proper fire department access. Fire lane will be provided for a new addition by indicating proposed fire lane coverage on the plan. So we coordinated with Danny on that. And then building addition is proposed where the existing fire department connection, the FDC, is located. Provide public safety with sprinkler plans set to review prior or to proposed FDC location. There's no additional landscaping proposed, and there was no bike and ped comments received. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, the applicant is also in the audience.
Okay, does anybody have any questions or comments?
Aaron, I guess the only question I got, it does meet or match the existing wall panels and whatever other decorative things they are in the building?
Yep, that's right.
And then they do have the wainscoting 3 feet on the front.
Correct.
All right, pretty straightforward. No other questions, I'll move to approve the addition as presented.
I'll second.
With staff conditions?
Yes, with staff conditions.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve with staff conditions the site plan review for 1921 Airport Drive, parcel VA-24. Any more comments or concern? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. 6B, action regarding amending section 17-4-400, accessory uses, Village of Ashwaubenon Municipal Code relating to accessory buildings. Okay, this was brought up because of a concern that we did not want people just putting up little storage sheds.
Correct. Yep, this came out of a few discussions at Site Plan Review Committee regarding the location or construction of small storage sheds in non-residential properties across the village. Our current code does have regulations in place for storage buildings and residential properties, but not in our commercial, industrial, or public properties. So Site Plan Review Committee gave me direction to put together an ordinance to help provide some guidance for when these are proposed, both to the people who are applying for the shed to understand what's required, as well as then for the site plan review committee to be able to really identify if they do meet the code or if they don't meet the code. Hopefully try to avoid some lengthy back and forth as we've had prior to this ordinance. The ordinance itself is relatively straightforward. What it does is it breaks down the proposed accessory buildings by zoning classification. So what you can see here, so under the proposed amendment to 17-4-400 accessory uses, add accessory buildings in R3, B1, B2, B3, B4, SE, VC, SB, and BP zoning districts. So then underneath that, it lists out what the requirements are for those zoning districts, including architectural use, location, landscaping, requiring what limitations on use. So, you can't use it for occupancy. It can be used for storage of, basically materials, non-hazardous supplies, lawn, snow equipment, so on and so forth. Just bear with me a second here. There was a section. Yep, there we go. I want to make sure that there was the concrete pad that was discussed extensively at Site Plan Review Committee under architectural requirements. An accessory building shall be placed on and anchored to a concrete pad with a minimum 4-inch thickness to address some of those concerns that came up regarding just setting something on the grass or on a gravel pad. So, as I mentioned, it goes through the different zoning classifications, and it really it does kind of reiterate the standards with some minor deviation amongst them. There's some additional flexibility in the P public use zoning districts just to accommodate things such as park shelters or the open air shelters we have. We don't run into issues with that. Did have this run past Rex as well. He thought this would work out well for him as well. So if you have any specific questions about the proposed ordinance amendment, I'd be happy to answer them.
Aaron, is there anything in here on electrical or heating?
So it can only be used for cold storage, so they cannot be heated.
Okay,
It doesn't mention anything about electrical because, quite honestly, a light bulb or something might make sense if it's of decent size. So I didn't have a problem with electrical. They would have to get an electrical permit along with an accessory building permit before they could do it.
okay, that permit will be reviewed, I guess what I'm thinking of electric heat,
Well, it specifies cold storage.
but it still has to,
Yeah.
okay, all right,
Yeah.
all right.
So they would not be allowed to
But-
heat it.
Okay, all right, well, I'll just leave that alone for now.
So Aaron, I have a question.
Yep.
Aren't you going to put a
you-
tremendous,
Move your,
Oh.
thank you.
aren't you going to put a tremendous amount of properties out of compliance here in a hurry?
They'd all be grandfathered in.
They would.
So they'd be considered legal non-conforming uses, so they could certainly continue to operate as is. They can do standard repairs to it, but if at some point they decide, you know what, we're going to take this shed down and build something new, they'd have to comply at that time.
Okay.
Which I think is a good idea, speaking from a zoning standpoint. It's proactive, and it's a good thing.
Yeah. Speaking from the Zoning Board of Appeals, right?
Yes. We still have one, I guess. but
Yeah.
It's probably a good thing that we don't have to meet, and that's
Yeah.
one reason why.
Yeah. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
So the building is limited on all zoning by 144 square feet?
So for the first group, it's 144 square feet. Let's see here, for the industrial, bear with me a second here, didn't bring my cheaters with me. For the industrial, it's 240 square feet, it's a little bit larger in the industrial. And then the public, there is no maximum, again, just because you're talking about a park shelter, which technically would be classified as an accessory building. Those could be all over the board as far as size. Those, of course, still would be subject to site plan review committee. Anything larger than what's listed in here really should be looked at then as a actual building and subject to the actual site plan review requirements for another commercial building or industrial building. So this is meant to address just those, we need someplace to store our snow blower and lawnmower or garden tools, whatever
Yeah.
it might be.
So the maximum size of an accessory building is going to be what now?
So within these zoning districts, it'll be either 144 square feet in the first grouping, so the R3, which is the multifamily, through the, basically the business or commercial districts.
Okay,
And for the industrial, it'd be 240 square feet, so a little bit larger.
okay.
So I guess what I see these being used for is similar to what was brought forward. We're going to use it for cold storage of some supplies or, salt for ice removal or snow blower, lawnmower, things like that.
Yeah.
So, so if you were to do like, I know we did a couple of these, and I know McDonald's does this, where you have the dumpster enclosure also has an accessory building attached to it. Is that gonna limit their size then?
No, that would just still be subject, that should be a dumpster enclosure. Your dumpster enclosure is whatever you need to accommodate your business. And that
I'm
comes
not
through site
talking
plan
about
review.
that. They'll have the dumpster enclosure,
Okay.
and then part of the dumpster enclosure will actually be a storage building attached right to it.
How big are those typically?
Well, like the one we did, because the dumpster was 16 feet deep, it was 10 by 16, which would be 160 square feet.
Okay.
A good example, where is there one? I know we did it on a
I've
lot of
seen them, Dan, I
hardens.
know what you're talking
Yeah,
about. Isn't there one in Pilgrim?
but I think McDonald's has one actually on Oneida Street.
So right now, it would technically be limited to 144 square feet.
So if they brought that in with a whole site plan, we'd be able to,
Right, this is for, I guess, this is for those kind of one-offs. This is for you bringing a freestanding accessory building. If
Can
you're
we-
bringing it through as part of an overall site plan, as part of the dumpster enclosure, the overall site plan review, that'd be a new review. This is for, again, those one-offs that we're really struggling with as a group.
all right.
Yeah, the real problem was, like you said, the standalone buildings was the one we were really discussing. I think what Dan's getting to, that come through site plan anyway,
Yeah.
to know what the square footage is.
Right.
So this is, they go to Menards and buy a 12 by 12 building and drag it and just set it somewhere on the property and
Right.
never get a permit and never get any foundation to it or anything.
Correct. Meant to try to address that issue that kept coming up.
I'd move to approve this.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the amendment to section 17-4-400 of the municipal code for accessory buildings. Any more questions or comments?
Well, the only thing I want to say about it, I think it's a good start to make sure that we're not getting shacks put up alongside of permanent buildings.
Yeah.
So that they do look like something and they're stable. And knowing the problems that some of these buildings have with just sitting on the ground and varmints underneath it, I think this is going to eliminate a lot of that. So I think it's a good move on the direction we're going in, so.
Okay, this will go to plan board, right?
Correct. Plan commission tonight and then village board at the end of the month.
Right. Okay, so there's recommended approval of that. Any more questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Number 7, department reports.
Couple updates. You've probably seen the construction fencing is up for the Commonplace and Odyssey Climbing Gym. They should be breaking ground here any day if they haven't already. I haven't driven out there recently, but the property has been transferred from the CDA to the development group. So that'd be a great project. We'll start to see some activity on Mike McCarthy Way. You probably saw Chick-fil-A is underway. Scooter's Coffee is underway. So there's a lot of building going on in the village again. Things are continuing to move forward. In terms of next agenda items, I'll be honest, I have not received any for our next meeting. Not to say that something couldn't come in between now and 4:30, but at this time, I guess we'll let you know if something comes in or not.
Okay. I will then entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Adjourn. Second?
Motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.